Thank you, Father God, for this day. Continue protecting us everywhere we go. Thank you for family and friends. Let it be so.
Really?
I love how it's short and cute. Get right to the point.
I love her, but I'm like, girl, come on, just open your heart just a little bit, just a teensy bit. Shit. I love my child. Though. You can't, you gotta love her.
Yeah, so
All right, I'll see whenever
so
you're ready, sweetheart.
lately I've been going through this. I'm starting. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So it's been a point of mine talking to the Most High, and you know how when you're around other people, you like dim yourself down to fit into their circles or their atmosphere because you don't want to outgrow anybody else. So that's been my thing lately is I don't want to be boastful, but at the same time, I'm better than this person that I am right now. And I know that I'm going to outgrow not only myself, but I'm going to outgrow everybody in my family. I'm going to outgrow like a lot of people that I'm around. But I've been fearful to do so because if I outgrow them, then that means I'm alone again. Or if I outgrow them mentally or spiritually, then that means that I have nobody, well, us to talk to, yeah. But I'm not around y'all daily. So it was been kind of hard for me to fight back growing because I'm like, if I grow, then I'm in another plane on my own. So the Most High has been telling me, no, I'm about to show you why you need to grow. So that's my study today, not only for me, but to tell us why we can not stay into places that we do not fit anymore. And my first analogy is when you plant and you have different flowers and fruits and vegetables in one pot. As they continue to grow, they outgrow their pots. And their pots, you can pull them out of the pots and you can see that their roots went around the pot at the bottom and they're going around in circles trying to find a way to release themselves. And then after so long, if they don't grow, if they don't get into a bigger pot, they end up dying off. They end up withering, dry rot. The roots end up tangling with each other. They can't move anymore, so therefore it stunts the growth of the plant. If the plant doesn't grow more, it just stunts and it won't yield as much fruit as it's supposed to. Spiritually speaking, if we don't grow, we don't yield as much fruit as we're supposed to. Our knowledge doesn't increase. Our spirituality doesn't increase. We don't go where we're supposed to go in Yahuwah. We don't learn what we're supposed to learn. We don't get the things that we're supposed to get. And not only that, we can't feed because we're supposed to bear fruit, right? Fruit is supposed to be eaten. We can't feed the multitudes of people around us because we haven't grown and we haven't shown ourselves approved. So in Daniel, the third chapter, 8 through 24th verse, it talks about King Nebuchadnezzar and the Hebrew boys as they go and they stand before the king and he makes them try to bow down and they're like, no, we don't bow down to your standards. We don't worship your gods. We don't bow down to your statues and your images and your false gods that you do. And King Nebuchadnezzar wanted everyone in the nation to change to go according to his will and not the will of the Most High Yahuwah. But three Hebrew boys, they was like, no, I'm not doing it. So instead of them bowing down, they stood their ground. And then King Nebuchadnezzar, he threw them into the pit, to the fires. So it talks about how when they were in the fire that they just walked around and he was so angry because they didn't get burnt. He looked down and he was like, wait a minute, I put three boys in there and there's a fourth person in there. And it talks about how he gets angry, so he basically turns up the fire. That's what happens when we try to grow in our lives. The fire gets turned up. When we try to learn, when we try to expand ourselves, when we try to grow outside of the pots, the fire gets turned up. Do you remember last week when you said that you, Crystal, when you said that you changed the pots of your plants and some of them looked like they were like wildering? Is she still on here?
Yeah, she's still on. She's probably at work.
Okay, well, when she changed the pots and they looked like they were wildering because the fire has been turned up on them. They don't know how to act now. They've been used to being put in pots that were smaller than what they needed to be. So now that they're in bigger pots, they don't know how to grow in that pot just yet. Not yet. Because at first, when you start to grow, you're like, what do I do now? Like, it's the bigger round. Like, I'm afraid to move around because I'm been smaller than what I am. But then after so long that you've been in this bigger pot, you end up navigating. You end up moving around. So the 3 Hebrew boys, they end up navigating and moving around. They end up walking around inside of the fire, untouched, unscathed. And not only did they walk around inside the fire, the Most High the Son of the Most High walked with them. He told them, like, basically, you're not doing this alone. Like, I stand here with you. Like, I'm about to take off this bondage, but while we in this fire, I stand here with you. So the king got angry. And it says, Daniel 3:24, and then Nebuchadnezzar the king was astonished, and rose up in haste, and spake, and said unto his counselors, did we not cast 3 men bound into the midst of the fire? They answered and said unto the king, true, O king. He answered and said, lo, I see 4 men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt, and the form of the 4th is the son of Yahuwah. And we have to understand that when we walk with Yahuwah, no matter what, when we walk with the Son, when we walk with Yahusha or Yahuwah, they're going to stand there and hold our hand. They're going to stand there and protect us because we stood out on faith. They're going to stand there and protect us. They're going to make sure that we walk with him unscathed, unhurt. And then not only that, he gives us walking room to walk in the midst of the fire that we're in. If you don't understand, like when you feel fire, you back up to the wall because you don't want to be burnt. So therefore you make yourself smaller so you won't get consumed by the fire. But imagine being in the midst of a fire and being able to walk uprightly, just walking around, no bounds, no hurt. The fire's not, you don't smell like it. You don't look like it. You don't like nothing about you looks like you've been through a fire. That's because we walked with Yahuwah. Instead of us being afraid of King Nebuchadnezzar, of what he could do, we walked with Yahuwah, and Yahuwah was like, hey, I got you. Yeah, I know how to talk. I would just just be real. Like, he's like, hey, I got you. So Colossians, 2 Colossians 1 and 10 through 1, and I basically summed it up. I can go read the whole thing. Let me go through that. I don't know why I put 10 through, it's 10 through 11. Sorry, 10 and 11. And it says, so that you might live in a manner worthy of Yahuwah and be fully pleasing to him as you bear fruit while doing all kinds of good things and growing in full knowledge of Yahuwah. This is why we can't stunt our growth. Because if we continue to grow and we continue to learn, and I'm not just talking about height, I'm not talking about width, I'm not talking about weight, I'm talking about in knowledge, in understanding, in spirituality. So when you continue to grow and you continue to bear fruit that is pleasing to the Most High, he will give you full knowledge and understanding in him. So therefore, when we come up against things like someone trying to tear us down spiritually or someone trying to come up against us, especially the things that we've been through, I don't know about y'all, but every time you try to go out of something that you've been through, someone always wants to come back and be like, well, you did this back then and try to bring you back down. But when the Most High says, no, I need you to grow, he's going to grow you out of that. And I thought I had a scripture in here and I can't find it. But that was Colossians, I think it's Colossians 1:10-11.
Okay.
And there's another scripture that I didn't put in here. I forgot to put that in here, but it talks about when you do things in Yahuwah, and he walks before you, but he does it first. Like, I should have put it in here because it would have made sense. But all of these things that we have to go through, we don't have to go through them alone, nor do we have to go through them first, because he went through everything that we have to go through first. So everything that we trying to outgrow or trying to understand or trying to get knowledge of, he's already been there, done that. Mm-hmm. So therefore, he is the perfect person to ask. The perfect person. If I'm afraid to grow in this arena, because I sometimes when you look at stuff, you see the magnitude of it and you don't want to tackle it, shall I say. If I go, like, there's a saying that if I eat an elephant, how can you eat an elephant? Bite by bite. Mm-hmm. Most people look at the elephant, they're like, my stomach can't fathom eating that whole elephant. But if you eat it bite by bite, you can eat the whole elephant.
That's facts.
So we have to understand that even when we go through spiritual things, we have to go through bite by bite, taking little by little, but also putting them into our arsenal. So therefore, when you have, I always call it a spiritual arsenal, because if somebody comes at you with a spiritual attack, you got weapons in your arsenal to come out with. Wait a minute. Don't come at me telling me that I'm less than, when the Most High says I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. And everything that I had is within him. All the things that he can do, he said I can do also. If I trust in him, if I believe in him, if I walk with him, I can do also. So don't tell me I'm less than if I know who I am. But my word, the word that comes in, because I'm researching, I'm understanding, and I'm studying, I know the word. So when someone else comes with me at a spiritual attack, I can bring out my arsenal, which is the word of Most High.
Well, praise this. Do me a favor, Odyssey.
And
I want you to take that first Colossians. I want you to start at verse 3, and I want you to take it all the way down to verse 13.
First Colossians 10.
I mean Colossians 1. I said first Colossians like it's more than one.
You're going in and out.
Colossians 1, start at verse 3 and take it down to verse 13.
Okay, let me go. Yeah.
You want me to read it?
I was going to it. You said Colossians 1, 3 to what?
3 to 13.
And we give thanks to Yahuwah, the Father of our Lord.
Master.
What do you say right there?
Master.
Father of Yahusha, praying always for you. Since we heard of your faith in Yahusha, of the love which ye have in all the saints, for the hope which is laid up for you in heaven. Wherefore we heard before in the word that the truth of the gospel, which is come unto you, as it is in all the world, and bringeth forth fruit, as it doeth also in you. Since the day we heard of it and knew the grace of Yahuwah in truth, as you also learned the Ephras, is that how you say that?
Mm-hmm.
Ephras of our dear fellow servant, who is you and faithful minister of Christ. Sorry.
That's okay. Keep going.
My words are just going together. I need some glasses right now. And we also declared unto you your love in his spirit, in his declared unto you your love in the spirit. For this cause we also, since the day we heard it, do not cease to pray for you, and desire that ye might be filled with the knowledge of his will and all wisdom and spiritual understanding, that ye may walk worthy of Yahuwah, unto all pleasing, being faithful in every good work, and increasing in the knowledge of Yahuwah, strengthening in all might, according to his glorious power, unto all patience and long suffering with joyfulness, giving thanks unto the Father, which hath made us meet to be partakers of the inheritance of the saints in light, who hath delivered us from the power of darkness and had translated us into the kingdom of his dear Son.
You know why I asked you to read that, right?
Because it's talking about us in
It's
our
talking about
bearing the
exactly what
fruit.
you're talking about. It's putting in more, it's giving it more context than just the verse 10 through 11. Exactly what you was talking about, how we can't allow ourselves to be bottled up, that you got to let those roots grow and be able to be ready to be transplanted or transformed into a bigger vessel, a vessel that's going to be able to, where your roots can grow and you can produce more fruit. See, this
Right.
just explained that entire thing in those 10 verses. And this is just further edification I'm giving to you for your speaking engagement this weekend, because what it does, it brings it more
Yeah,
into context
put
than
that on
just
here.
verses 10 and 11. This gives everything you're talking about even more grounds for people to have to pay attention to, because like you said, when you walking through that fire, they're walking through
Mm.
the fire. They're not being consumed by the fire. They're what? They're growing in the fire. They're being
Growing, right.
blessed in
And
the
that's
fire.
part of what I got on here too. Because what
Mhm.
the fire.
Right. So, and this right here it even edifies that even further when it says you walk. It says being fruitful in every good work and increasing in the knowledge of Yahuwah.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you was talking about a little earlier. You can't let people's ideals stifle you. You can't let people dumb you down because you feel like you're not trying to be better than somebody.
Right. And that's the thing. People will see that and they be like, "Oh, you think you better?" And because I literally just heard this from one of our family members, and she was like, "Oh, you're holier than thou. You don't want to be around us." And I'm like, "You're right. There's nothing I can say to make you feel better about me not wanting to be a part of the foolishness, shall I say?"
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to be part of it. And I don't feel any remorse of not wanting to be a part of the foolishness, because I know what I have to do. Like, I know my partaking in the kingdom of Yahuwah, and
Mm-hmm.
it does not involve me doing the things that y'all do anymore, nor does it involve my conversations, that all of the things we have to grow in our conversations. We have to grow in the people we hang around. We have to grow in the way that we walk and talk. We have to grow in even how we handle our family members. Like, that's the hardest, because sometimes family is the hardest to walk away from. Didn't the Most High tell uh Abraham, you got to come up out of your kinfolk, because the way I need you to grow, the things that I need you to do, you can't do amongst them.
Right.
So sometimes we have to understand that we have to even grow in where we're supposed to be going. We can't stay where we are right now, because he has a better place for us. And we can't grow spiritually, physically, or even mentally in these places. So when we talk about growing, y'all have to understand that growing just doesn't mean in those small things. Growing means in every area, every aspect, everything that we could and cannot do, we thought we could do. The Most High said, if you believe in me, I can do all things. So the little things that we thought that we couldn't do, like, he's like, that's nothing. I did that yesterday. 20,000 times. So let's get it. But yeah, I'm glad you put that out there too. I gotta go move that in my notes, because my notes be messing up sometimes. Hold on. Okay. Sorry, I'm just moving them down because they overlapping each other right
No,
now.
no,
Give me a
take your
second, y'all.
time. Take your time. This is what we're here for. We're here to learn from one another. Not one person knows everything. So that's why I'm like, we all need to be giving our input. We all need to be taking our time to come up with a study so that we can work with one another, so we can help edify, so we can help sharpen one another, so that when we are out here in the world, when people have a question, then we're not ashamed to give an answer, because we are ready for real, ready to give an answer. The word says, the word says, study to show themselves approved, or workmen not ashamed. Okay, so we don't want to be, if somebody was to ask us a question, we can't be like, oh, hold up, let me go ask my uncle, let me go ask my pastor, let me go do this, let me go do that. We got to be ready with an answer. We got to
Mm-hmm.
be ready to give. We got to be ready on the spot, because people are going to do this. They're going to try to find a way to pick apart what it is that you're saying, or try to find a way to to make what you're saying to be pretty much none effect. But you got to be ready to give the answer when the situation comes. And that's the whole purpose of why we study together. This is the whole purpose why the Most High has put us together as a family, so that we can come together and reason with one another, and show and like I said, show ourselves a workman who is not ashamed. So don't think you messed up. We're here to help you edify. All of us are here to help you edify.
Oh no, I didn't think I messed up. I was just moving some stuff around because they
Okay.
it's like, no. Okay, so we talked about being in the fire, but now I want to talk about what the fire actually does once we're in it. So when you are around like I mean not wilders, what is those things people call that they zap the metal and it comes together? What is that called? Welding, right?
Welding, yes.
Okay,
Welding.
okay, yeah.
Hmm.
So even with welders and people like those people, like they have to use heat to mend things. They bring things together through heat and fire. If you ever seen like glass makers, they put the glass in the fire and it turns into like a liquid, and they can blow on it and move it around. Even
Hmm.
pottery, once pottery's done, they put it inside of fire to make it firm, to make it hold the shape that it's in. That's what the Most High does when he puts you in a fire. He's not just putting you there so you can learn things. He's putting you there so he can shape you, to mold you, to bring you out a different, like even with wedding bands and rings and jewelry, they're shaping inside of fire. There's so much heat that goes into them to where they can bend and mold to what the shape that they want them to be in. And then they add all kinds of jewelries and diamonds to make it look furnished and good looking. But at the same time, that's what the fire does to us. So when we go through a lot of situations in our life, we're like, why am I going through this? Why? But the question is, should be, is what do I need to learn from this? Where are you taking me? How are you molding me? How are you shaping me? Do I need to be polished? Do I need to be like burnt, like anything? Do I need to add diamonds on top of this molding? Ask the Most High what you need to do inside of your shaping and your molding inside this furnace. Because as the Hebrew boys stood in there, it never talked about them having any type of fear. It never talked about them being scared to be thrown in. One of them stood up and he was like, "Hey, I'm not, you got me messed up, because the Most High told me I was going to do this and this is what I'm going to do." He was bold. And Nebuchadnezzar was like, "Yeah, I'm throwing him in there." And not only that, I'm turning up the heat because they didn't burn like they were supposed to. He turned up the heat so much that he had sweat. He turned up the heat so much the two people standing outside of the fire burned up. But it never touched them. They walked around freely, no heat, and it never burned them. So we have to understand, even though we fear the fire, it's never going to burn us when we walk with the Most High. Even as Moshe walked in and he seen the burning bush, he put his hand in his stick in there and it didn't burn. Who does that? Who, like, what fire you gonna see and put your hand in there just to trust to see if that fire is gonna burn you? But he did, and his hand did not burn. When the Most High puts us in a fire, it's not going to burn us. It's only going to make us better. So
Mhm.
everything in life we should ask. We're going through hell right now. Our family's putting us through hell. We going through things at our job. I'm losing my job over here. Like, I'm losing my mind over here. Like, we should ask, what am I learning from this? How are you shaping me? How are you molding me? Because when you take your mind away from the destruction of it and you start putting your mind to the elevation and the building of it, then your mindset changes of how you look at every outcome. No longer are you in strife and debate. No longer are you hurt and burdened, and no longer are you like losing your joy. Now you're like, okay, I can learn something from this. Okay, I need to move this. I need to do that. I need to grow in this place. Because every time you ask the Most High to do something, especially with me and my patience, if I tell him I need more patience, help me with my patience, oh, he gonna send some ways for me to be patient. And I might be annoyed in the midst of me learning, but at the same time, I have grown in my patience, because my patience from here in 2 years, a year last year, y'all, like my patience from then and now is way different. But if I didn't grow through them growing pains and I didn't try to learn why I'm going through this, because I asked for patience, he's not going to give it to you the way that you want him to give it to you. But therefore, your patience is growing. Not only is your patience growing, your understanding about people around you, things around you, your life in general is growing. Because those things that used to bother you 10 years ago is not bothering you now, because you're in a bigger, better place. So when he said, I put you through this fire, I'm not putting you through the fire to burn you. I'm putting you through the fire to strengthen you, to give you all power according to his glorious might, and that you can patiently endure everything with joy. If you can't patiently endure everything with joy, everything in your life is going to be doom and gloom. But you have to know that this fire is not to burn me. This fire is not to destroy me. This fire is to mold me and make me into something better. Like even with gold, like gold comes in blocks and clumps. But when you put it in fire and you pour it into something like a mold, it turns into a form of something. Therefore, we have jewelry, we have necklaces and things that go on our furniture and things like that, because it has been molded to that. If we never put it through fire, we would never be able to mold it. And therefore, people be walking around with clumps and big bricks of gold. What is that? No one wants to walk around with a brick. I got a brick of gold, like for money, yeah, but I feel like it's this beautification. Like, what is that? No, but with my gold rings and my necklaces, that's pretty. But it had to go through something to get there. It had to be mended and molded. But I also want to say this, because even when we're put into molds, sometimes those molds are not fit for us. Sometimes those molds are not meant for us to grow in. So even with jewelry, when they're put in molds, that's the only thing that's ever going to be. If I have a ring, unless I burn it back down and make it to something else, the ring is all it's going to ever be. So we have to understand that even molds sometimes restrict us from growing to what we need to be. We can't always put ourselves in a mold. Sometimes it's good to put ourselves in a mold. If you got to go to work and you got to conform to what they mold is, you got to put yourself in that mold. But if you outside and you're doing things that you're trying to grow, you can't put yourself into a mold. You got to make sure that you're able and adaptable to whatever circumstances you're in. And we talked about it. I didn't talk about adaptogens, but when we go through evolution, every single generation adapts to the new form of life. Every single generation. If we are 500 years from now, we're not speaking the same language that they spoke 500 years from now. We're not walking this. I mean, it's the same land, but we're not walking the same way. We have different shoes on. We have cars that move faster now. So every generation adapts to a new surrounding, shall I say. Even with the cold climate people, even with the hot climate people, if you were born in Canada and you come all the way to Texas, you can't stay there for too long without moving back up north because it's colder. After a while, you can, but you have to adapt to that. So that means you have to go back and forth for a while until you get used to the climate changes. When you're in altitudes in Colorado and you go to Florida, they're two different altitudes. So when you come to Florida and go to Colorado, you might get sick because it's way higher. The altitude is way higher than Florida. So you might get sick when you go to Colorado because they're up in the plains. Their air is thinner than it is here. So you have to go back and forth to adapt yourself to those climates. But even with us, if we don't adapt ourselves into the climate of what the Most High is telling us to adapt ourselves into, like we say when we was younger, when you a baby, you eat baby food. But now we're older. We shouldn't be eating baby food anymore. So we should be growing in the word of the Most High. Well, you like baby food?
No, I'm agreeing with you. You said when
Oh, okay.
you said when younger, you said
You
we should eat baby food. You see the way I'm looking. I'm
eat
like,
baby
all
food. I
right,
was about
but
to say
did you know
that's nasty,
no,
but
it's just it's that look like. But you know, many people are still eating baby food. Some folks still ain't got off the bottle yet, and they've been in this for many years.
and that's the thing, because they don't want to grow. And my thing is, if we don't challenge ourselves, even with babies, like we go from the bottle and then we go take them a little bit into like cereal inside the bottle to make it thicker. Once they get used to that, we take them to baby food. Once they get used to that, we take them to solids. Once they get used to that, they can eat whatever now. Not necessarily should eat whatever, but they can eat whatever
Right.
because we have adapted them into it. When we try to learn in the Most High and we stay at baby food, not only are we hurting ourselves, we are not growing nutritionally. There's things in our body, like we have growth spurts when we turn 13, 14, and women, I think it's 16, but males, I think it's younger than that. We have growth spurts in those ages. If we're still on baby milk, our bones will break because they're using too much energy and nutrients that the baby food is not giving us.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, spiritually, if we're still on baby food and we're coming through a great awakening, we're coming through all of this knowledge and all of this stuff that's out here now, people can Google anything now. If we're still on baby food and all of this knowledge is coming through us, our mind, our mentals will break because we have not conformed to growing. We have not learned to grow and get bigger and adapt to new surroundings. So therefore, the surroundings that come plummeting on us will break us. The mental capacity that we have, especially somebody that's new in this walk, they're growing. So we couldn't understand them not having a mental capacity to take in everything that we know, because we don't even know everything. So we feed them little by little. Someone puts a seed here, like you said. What's that saying? Here a little, grow a little, something like I don't know, but somebody somebody waters it and then it grows.
Yeah,
but us personally, if we don't learn to grow, yeah. But if we don't learn to grow, we get stuck. And not only do we get stuck, we die spiritually. What did the Most High say what did Yahushua say when he walked past the fig tree? The fig tree is not bearing any fruit. He shriveled it up. It's gone. That's what he's going to do to us because we are not learning. We are not growing. We are not mentally and physically and spiritually growing. Therefore, we have no use for him. None whatsoever. So if we don't grow, we end up losing the things that he has for us, which is nutrients. Yahushua said on the rock when he was talking to Hashatan, we should not live by bread alone, but by the word. And that is our bread. That's the bread of life. That's the best bread that we can ever eat. That's the best bread we can ever consume. But if we are still on baby milk, bread is going to hurt us. So let me move on to my next one. Hold on.
You got two questions in the chat.
I'm sorry, y'all can't see the chat. I'm in my notes.
Oh, okay. The first
Um,
question.
uh, Speaking honestly, I wanted to ask, how do we know in the spirit is when we are ready or a person is ready for spiritual food? Is it a knowledge thing? Is it a thing of the spirit? Is it a thing of being in the walk for a time? So like what, because I've heard this in different contexts, and I guess maybe and as I was asking myself, as I heard you bringing this out, it was like I kind of sound remedial in my head,
No,
and maybe again I'm giving myself too much spiritual fortitude. But as somebody who's studied and I've been in the walk, but I've heard this often, and I guess my question, yeah, to you or to admonish somebody who may be ready for food or don't understand that they're ready for food. So I guess that's the question of what would we describe as spiritual food? Is it okay, this person understands who they are? Okay, now they're ready to start wearing fringes, or like where do we understand that, or is that more of a personal growth and understanding with you and the Most High? I guess just keeping yourself accountable. And with that, I digress. Obviously.
I say with both. Okay, so figuratively speaking, if someone is hungry, their body starts to tell them that they're hungry. It's either grumbling in their stomach. It's either they got a headache. It's either they see somebody with food and they want more of it. Spiritually, if you are hungry, your body does the same thing. Think of us when we came to walk, understanding that you knew a little bit of whatever that was fed to you when you was younger. You knew, okay, Jesus is God and God is Jesus and they are one person and all of this other stuff, but there was something in you was like, there's more. Wait, there's more. Something in you was like, I need more. Let me learn for myself, because I've learned from everybody else. I've learned from your teaching. I learned from their teaching. Y'all been spoon feeding me all of this time. But now I know I'm hungry. That y'all not giving me that nutrient. And I love to talk and because it gives me a way of saying it without being like, okay, well, you'll just know. But if I'm not getting enough nutrients on one thing, I know that my body craves something. Like me, I have low iron. So all I eat is ice. But I had infusions recently, so now I've moved up to just drinking ice cold water all the time. But I still want my ice. But my body was telling me there's something there you're not getting. So it's trying to supplement in a way that I can get something, but it's still not necessarily giving me what I need. So even in your spiritual walk, somebody else is coming up to you and they're talking to you and they're asking you, that's because they're hungry. Their nutrition has run low and they are trying to find something. Even if they want to combat with you, even if they want to fight with you, their spirit is trying to find something other than what they've been given, because they need more. They need more nutrients. So when we want to grow spiritually, even if it's for somebody else coming to us, even if it's for us, we know that you have met your barrier. Your barrier is, like I talked about the pots earlier. We done swim around in this pot. The roots is growing around in circles, and we trying to figure out how to get out of this pot now because we need a bigger pot. That's how you know, because once you start seeing that I can't grow anymore, I need more. I need to learn and understand more. And even if we were teaching somebody else and somebody else was coming to us and they're like, well, I think I've learned all that I can learn. And you like, okay, but then they come back and you're like, because you're still hungry. Let's still learn. You can't learn all that you have to learn because listen, like even the most scholars in this world are still learning daily. And we can never learn too much. I mean, you might not want to learn too much because you might go cuckoo for crazy of a Cocoa Puffs, but I'm just saying we can. But that I hope I gave you your answer.
No, and honestly, you see how Kadosh is over there smiling. You see over there grinning like a alley cat. But I really just it was a spiritual conviction question, but then I just kind of wanted to hear you just bring it out. And the way that you kind of brought it out was beautiful. Just honestly, the way of of understanding again, be you hungry. If you hungry, you hungry, and the understanding of that. Just like you said, it took my mind back to me walking into the truth and learning these different things and then relearning things as you brought out of that understanding. So I guess now thank you for showing me that so that I can kind of see that when I see people like you said, they're clamoring or going at war in their spirit with where they are in their life or in their walk right now, to understand that no, what you really more dealing with is that you got to challenge yourself. The Most High
You
is
gotta
asking you to
step
fall
right.
deeper and enlighten your spirit more and gird up in your spirit. So yeah, praise the Most High. I was just really wanted you to bring that. No, you answered it beautifully. Thank you.
Thank you. Also, and I want to put it like this too, because not all of us know when it's time to grow. But when we are going through so much, like sometimes the Most High has to push us out of our growing spurt because we don't want to come out of our comfort zone. So, say you at a job and you comfortable in this job, but he wants you to grow. You're gonna lose your job tomorrow.
You speaking it. You
And,
speaking it. You hey
yeah,
hey hey hey. Honestly, don't be telling everybody my business now. Don't be telling everybody my business.
because he wants you to grow. Like he's like, I put this in you, and you've been knowing about this for so long. Your expansion, your knowledge, and your understanding has been elevated. You have learned this stuff, but yet you sit on it. And now because you sit on it, I have no other choice but to pull you out of what you're in to make you move on what you know.
Well,
Because
no, so I praise God that you speaking in wisdom because again, that was my conviction. Again, I could have wrote that in Kadosh. Me and Kadosh, we've been talking probably the whole basically 8 months I've been on that job. So Kadosh has heard a lot of what I've been going through. But again, I probably could have, or the Most High could have let me coast out probably another 2-3 weeks out, finishing up, and it really wasn't much. A lot of the work we have done. But like you said, a lot of what I was doing was really just coasting these last couple weeks and months, knowing that the job is ending. And I'm like, okay, Mosai, what you got for me? And the Mosai said, oh, don't worry about it. I'm about to kick your butt in the gear right now. So
right.
probably bringing that out, that like you said, thank you for that wisdom. Thank you for that.
Go ahead, cousin.
All right. Uh, I I was listening to you, and it just reminded me of how when babies are hungry, when babies are growing, when babies are ready for the next step, they'll get to the point where what you've given them is not enough. They get to the point
Mm-hmm.
where what you give them, they will actually start to fight against because it's not what they truly desire. But then, that's like when you give a child milk and but then they start on the baby food. You try to give them a bottle when they want some actual food, they're gonna fight away from that bottle until you get them the actual food that they want you know then when they get to that from that point of that baby food where they get the taste of that real table food and they see how that table food really excites them on the inside, then they don't want that other food anymore. Now they want to grow up they want to move on to the next piece and the next piece. You explained that so eloquently, and I was sitting there just smiling just as hard as I could be because I'm like, I'm loving how you were how just how you were able to explain that so to such that level, um because a lot of times we don't even understand that we're growing. We just know that what we're learning just ain't enough, and we got to keep trying to find more and more and more. And we don't understand that that's us graduating to the next form of meat, the next form of food, the next form of substance to keep us going. Because baby, what's baby food going to do for a man my size? I'm 6'2", 215 pounds. What am I going to do with a jar of baby food? You know? So I got to go up to so now I need me some Texas Roadhouse rolls and a steak and a salad to go along with this, you know, and and that's
Right.
how, and that's exactly how I love how you brought that out. I really love how you brought that out. That you know that as you get hungrier, what you have had is it just won't fill you up anymore, and you got to keep finding that next thing until you get to a place of satisfaction. But then after a while, like Akawak just said, I mean not like Akawak just said, like you just said, once you become complacent and you feel like you pretty much get are steady, then the Most High wants to move you out again. And then, as much as you might want to stay there, he's going to introduce you to something that's going to kick your appetite back in again. And it's so when we are growing, we got to understand that just like a baby, there's going to be times when that what we've have had is not going to be enough. We need more. And
Mhm.
you described it to, I mean, you described that to a tooth. And I was sitting up there smiling so hard. I'm like, look at my baby cousin. She just really doing this thing. And but the truth of the matter is, just like you said, and I'm actually having to sit there and examine myself too. Am I sitting in a place where am I sitting in a pot where my roots are just growing around, just trying to find a way to escape? Am I sitting in a situation, or am I sitting in an area of my life, or in my studies, or in my searching for the Most High? Am I sitting in a place where I've become stagnant and he's trying to bring me out? Well, I've become comfortable and he's trying to break me loose on something else. That's something that we always have to keep in mind, that no matter what we think we know, there's always room to grow. But we have to be ready to get our feet wet. We got to get ready to take our roots out from
Mhm.
where we've been, just like you said. Just like Crystal said when she gave hers, she was talking about having to replant her orchids. I think it's what those things are called. And and you got to take it, and you got to pull up those roots, and sometimes pulling up those roots are an uncomfortable situation. It might cause strain, it might cause stress, it might cause anxiety, but
Mhm.
that fire that you feel, that fire, Jeremiah says it's like a fire shut up in my bones. He just can't contain it. That fire, when that fire is not, that fire is not meant to consume you. That fire is meant to make you grow. um let's take a couple of different types of seeds for an example. You got some seeds that will not germinate, they will not grow until they have felt that heat. The plant itself has to be caught on fire for the seeds itself to become to the point of germination. You got pine trees, pine cones, you got pine seeds that, even though they will, if they're plant, and they may, but they start to grow under heat. When they get that extreme heat and it releases those seeds into the ground, and those seeds bury into the ground, they begin to grow. You ever notice how a forest, with one year it'll burn down to the ground, but the next year you'll see all new growth all over the place? Sometimes that's what it takes. That fire is what it takes for that growth to happen.
Right.
you know let's look at Abraham in the book of Jasher. He got thrown into the fire. He got thrown. And what did the words? And what did it say in Jasher? He wasn't in the fire alone either. He felt like he was alone. He
Crystal
felt
put
like he was going in there alone. But the
in.
Most High walked through the fire with him as well. You know. So even when we feel like we're alone, sometimes it feels horrible. But then he does something to set that fire up to where we realize that we had never been walking by ourselves.
Mhm.
And you said something at the beginning of your study. You said that, you know, that sometimes we just want to stay dumbed down so that we don't seem like we're too much for other folks. It's not that.
Oh yeah, I'm getting to that.
Girl, come on, finish that up because I want to hear this.
Okay, Crystal put in Philippians 1:6. Let me read it real quick.
Hmm.
Uh it says, being confident of this very thing, that he which hath begun a good work in you will perform it unto the day of Yahusha. And I mean that's real good though, because if we stand on his confidence all the time, like, and we make sure that we walk in that confidence, because I speak about that too, about being boastful, and not boastful, but being bold in the confidence. Because if the three Hebrew boys had tithered and wavered in any type of way, that would have gave King Nebuchadnezzar like some type of reign, like he feels good about himself because he made these boys bow down to him. But because they stood up against him, he was enraged. He's like, who do they think they are? Put them in the fire. And then when the fire didn't consume them, he was so angry. He's like, I know that they should be burned up, but somebody else is walking with like, y'all. I don't think y'all understand when someone is looking to watch you fall in everything in your life. They are looking for your downfall. But when they look at you and all the stumbling blocks that they put in your life, because people do this, even people around you that say they love you, they put stumbling blocks in your life. They pray up against you. But when they see that you are still walking, still moving around, it angers them. It puts a kindle of fire up under them that makes them so angry that you continue to keep on elevating. You continue to keep on growing. You continue to keep on moving despite everything that they put against you.
Mm-hmm.
This is part of your growth. Like I said earlier, when I said I don't, it was hurting me because I knew that I would outgrow everybody around me. The people that are around me are the ones who are keeping me, in this box. They
Mm-hmm.
don't want me to grow. They don't want me to outgrow because they benefit on me being small. They benefit on my hurt and pain. They benefit on me not growing to the heights that I'm supposed to go in. But once I grow to those heights, once I grow spiritually and mentally, like I said, people would try to tear me down. I had someone tell me the other day, you think you better than, oh, I am. Like, I know where I stand now. I don't need to hang around with y'all and the things that y'all used to do anymore. I don't need to go out clubbing and wearing little clothes and it don't look like I got nothing on and all this makeup on my face. I hate stuff on my face. It makes my face break out. Why would I do that to myself? Why would I go to these clubs with half clothes on when these men are trying to touch me in ways that I don't want to be touched? You know I don't like being around people. Cause I don't look at
No,
me.
you don't.
Don't talk to me. Don't come and touch me in any type of way. I don't know you. But why would I put myself in these and knowing that I don't like that environment? My environment is at home. Maybe play a game, maybe read a book. Like before I got on studies, all I was doing was reading a book. Like when I get home, I'm engulfed in this book. I got home and I was like, oh shoot, it's time to read. That's me. That's my fun. It doesn't involve fun that might harm me. But then I understand your mental capacity because your mental capacity is so small. It's so much smaller than mine. I understand. I can be in a room and totally analyze the whole room. Who's angry? Who's fighting with who? Who's got this going on? Who's got that going on? Because I'm quiet and I sit back in the back.
Mm-hmm.
Analyze the whole entire room. But when I tell people, oh, it's about to go down, they be like, no, you just judging people. And then all of a sudden it goes down. They be like, how did you know? Because I pay attention. My spiritual capacity is way bigger than yours. I can feel it. I can see it spiritually. So therefore, I don't want to do the things that y'all do anymore. My growth, I'm allowing myself to grow, but at sometimes in points, I still stunt my growth because I'm like, wait, I don't want to outgrow them. I don't want them to feel like I don't love them. Don't want to be around them at some points. But at the same time, if I'm up here and you're down there, I can't keep reaching down there because it's going to hurt. I'm going into the later stuff because I'm going into that too. So let me read what this says. And okay, I was just reading the chat. But so let me go back into my second part of the studies. So I'm gonna talk about Joseph
Mm-hmm.
and how Joseph wanted to fit in with his brothers so bad.
Mm-hmm.
Joseph was way bigger than what the brothers did. They were all out herding sheep and doing things of the field, like taking care of the fields and all of this. And Joseph wanted to fit in so bad, so he wanted to be a part of them. But every time he tried to be a part of them, something happened. Every single time. He went to him, tried to tell him his dreams. He was just being like, not necessarily boastful then. He was just wanting to fit in. So he was letting his brothers know this is what the Most High told me in my dream. Every time he tried to fit in with them, it backfired on him.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Most High is letting him know this is not where you're supposed to be. I don't want you to go out there and get comfortable being around them because it's not where you're supposed to be. I don't want you going out there learning how the tricks and the trade of them because your tricks and trades are different. Y'all might be raised in the same family. Y'all might be raised with the same father, might not be the same mother, but y'all raised in the same family, but y'all are not the same.
Mm-hmm.
Your heights are different. Where I'm taking you is different. I have a different calling for your life than I do the people around you. So no, you cannot fit in. And I know that hurts with some of us because imagine you around your kinfolk and all you want to do is play with your family members. All you want to do is go out with them. All you want to do is be a part of them. But the Most High keeps pulling you back. Not only does he keep pulling you back, the people that you want to be a part of, they don't even want you around.
Mm-hmm.
They reject you every time you come around. They might want some of your insight. Because trust and believe me, the people that don't want you around, they getting something from you. But then as soon as they get it, they turn their backs on you. So they might want to be around him for some entertainment, because that's what they did to him. They toyed with him a lot. They hated him. So if he wasn't around for just entertainment, they didn't want to be around him. But this is how bad it is when you try to fit in so much. It comes to your demise, your destruction, your downfall, because he wanted to be around them so much. They sold him off, even though it was part of what he's supposed to do, what was supposed to happen to him. But I want people to understand that if you keep going around the things that are not meant for you, it will destroy you. It will tear you down. It will break you down. He was literally put in a pit. That's what you are looking forward to the most time. More and more you go into situations that you know you're not supposed to be in. You are literally putting yourself in a pit, dumbing yourself down. Like, people hate you for your potential. You ain't even done it yet, but they know that you are capable of it, and they will hate you for it. They will hate you for the growth that they know that you are going to, the heights that you are going to reach that they can never touch. There's also a saying that the eagle can come down to the pigeon's planes, but the pigeon can never go up to the eagle's planes. But the eagle can never survive all the time down there with the pigeons. There's nothing for him. He can't see his food. He gonna have to run around like them. The only time he is the predator, not the prey, is in the higher planes. If not, he comes down to the pigeons' planes every time. He becomes the prey. Anything above him that can see him becomes his predator. So why?
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Speak.
Go ahead.
No,
you just speak because
like
you
I
talk.
said,
You
I'm just
spitting some
giving
fire
Abba
right
the
now,
praise,
girl.
letting him keep using you, because you over here, you on fire, Odyssey. Yeah, you speaking to my ruach right now. I keep telling you, get out my head right now. Like I said, I don't know why the Father using you to speak to me like this, but again, hey, you be at His will, and I'm just gonna continue to listen. With that, I digress. Keep speaking, Queen.
Well, I'm good on speaking to somebody because I just told cousin, I was like, I don't know before we started. But when you start to look at your altitude and the way that you're supposed to be made, try to keep conforming yourself into everybody else's altitude, you will never thrive. You will never grow. You will never reach the heights that you're supposed to, because you want to be a part of everybody else, everything else. Part of your job. Why they get to do all of this? Why they get to do all of that? Because you're not made to. Why are they going here with your family? Why they can go to the clubs and drink and be a part? Because you're not made to. Why can I can't go over here with them and partake in what they partaking in? Because you're not made to. If I made you that way, I would have never brought you this way. If I made you smaller than this, I would have never allowed you to grow where you're supposed to be growing to. You would have been a midget. If I wanted you to be there, but I didn't. So therefore I made you this way. Stop trying to fit into places you don't fit in.
Come on.
Because either you're going to break the mold of the place that you're trying to fit in, or it's going to break you. There's no other way around it.
Woo!
And if you break the mold of the places you're trying to fit into, it's no fit for you to be in there anyways. So whatever it is, you're causing friction in something. And what causes friction? Lightning. What is it? Shocking. When you rub up against something and it shocks you, it's because it's friction there. Two things in one place, and it's conduit, and it's causing a friction. It's causing an occurrence. So when you are putting yourself in a place that you're not supposed to be in, or rubbing up against something that you're not supposed to rub up against, you cause friction, and it will either cause a fire or it will shock you. We have to stop trying to put ourselves and make ourselves smaller than what we are. When Joseph, he finally got to the place where he was in jail and he let go. He was like, you know what? I'm in here. I ain't doing nothing, but I'm in here. That's when he was allowed to grow. That's when the Most High was allowed to use him, because he was not fighting and causing friction up against what he was supposed to do in the first place. The Most High said, okay, I can use you now, basically because you're not fighting against anything that I have for you. You're not trying to fit in. You're not trying to be a part of this. You are accepting where you're at. But not only are you accepting where you're at, you're allowing me to pour into you so that I can grow you in places that you never knew you can grow. One thing about Joseph is he didn't know languages. When they were coming up against him, they was like, Joseph, he don't know language. He don't know all these languages. He asked. And one of the angels came to him in one night and taught him every single language there was for him to know. He was allowing himself to grow.
Come on, Book of Joshua.
Fight against it. He didn't say, well, they require this, and because they require, I don't meet the requirements. No. He was like, oh, that's a challenge. Okay, Yahuwah, I'm asking you. This is a challenge. They want me to know this. I need to know it. He asked, and it was given unto him.
Come on, say it.
Not only that, instead of him fighting the people that was in the place with him, he talked to them. One of them didn't even like him. One of them looked at him like, But since the other one, he was cool with him. They talked about their dreams and everything else. And because of him not fighting against it, I know dreams. The Most High give all of my life I've been talking about dreams. This is where I'm supposed to be. This my call right here. Let me hear your dream real quick. This is things that we're supposed to do. The Most High always puts us in positions to use our gifts no matter where we at. But if you are still fighting against trying to fit in and be part of something else, you would never be able to use your gift because you're not going to think about using your gift.
Right.
You're still thinking about being in Pomper's, what's his name? Pomper's palace.
Potiphar.
That's where I should be. I shouldn't be in here. Hell, I ain't never touched nobody. I ain't touched that girl. You fighting against the mold, trying to be a part of something that you were never supposed to be a part of. But yet, I have to sit you down. So this is the most alarming part, because if we don't listen to what the Most High is telling us or trying to grow, he's going to sit us down. And he's going to sit us down in a place that we have no other choice but to listen to him. I don't even like, I don't want to go to jail. I don't think I'm going to make it. Like, imagine you being in jail because you ain't listening to what the Most High told you to do. Simply stop trying to fit in. Stop trying to mold yourself to everything else. Stop trying to do this. Stop trying to do that. Listen to me. Now you in jail for 13 years. And you ain't do nothing. You didn't do anything. But what you did do was fight against what the Most High has been telling you all this time. You are a fig tree that should be bearing fruit. But when I walk past and you're not bearing the fruit, I will shrivel you up and throw you away like you meant nothing, because you didn't. You wasn't bearing any of my fruit. You trying to fit in. Look at you, a fig tree on the side of the road. Ain't bearing nobody's fruit. You trying to fit in over there, and there ain't no trees over there. Ain't no water over there. Ain't no way for you to grow. But yet you try to put yourself over there. Then we have all of these unmatched potentials because we don't know how to tap into it. Even when you Akawa, like the Most High is giving you this vision of this dream in this business, and He has to be like, okay, it's time now. Even with me, like I know, like I've been telling Cuzzo for months now, like my job is it's not fulfilling anymore. It's fine. I love my client. I love working here, but I know this is not where I'm supposed to be. I know that I'm supposed to be moving more. I don't know where to go just yet. So that's the only reason why I haven't moved, because I don't know where to go just yet. But that didn't stop me from doing research on new things, new opportunities, learning who I am. Because once I learn who I am, then I know where I need to go. Constantly learning who I am, constantly learning the things that I need to be doing. Like all I do is research herbs and healing because that's who I am. So I'm praying on the Most High to give me something in healing, something even in mind healing, even in like spirituality, all of these things, that's a part of me. So with me speaking and teaching, I can teach my healing. I can heal people through the word. So therefore, like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, but I'm not tapping into all the potential that I know I have. And all that potential comes with us reading the word, understanding, growing in him. Like even with our walks and talk with him, like our spirituality, we have to pray more. We have to get in him more, like not just asking him for things, just like daily. When I get up in the morning, I talk to him like he's my best friend. I know you've seen that thing yesterday that happened, and I know I got an attitude. I'm gonna just apologize right now. Forgive me because I should have done that. That's how I talk to him. He over like this girl right here. Something is wrong with him. But
You being honest. At least you being honest. At least you being
yes,
honest.
because he knows me. I'm not about to sit here and talk like somebody's preacher. Like you know how they talk. I can't. It's funny. I can't do that. I'm gonna be me. I'm gonna throw in a joke somewhere. I'm gonna laugh with him. I'm gonna cry with him. Like he is my best friend. So I'm gonna talk to him like I would talk to y'all. Because I'm not gonna be fake in front of him. I'm not gonna act like somebody that I'm not. This is who I am, and I know he accepts me. I would never disrespect him or say anything ill will, or even when my mind is going crazy when I pray, because it goes crazy. I ain't even gonna lie. I'm like, ooh, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry, y'all. I didn't mean to think about that. Get back into the prayer. Like that's me, because it goes left sometimes, but bring it back.
You
Forgive
know
me.
what? That's when the enemy likes to play with you. You sit up and trying to concentrate on the one thing, like Paul, like Saul said. Whereas I desire to do the right thing, there's evil's always present. It's always something to sit up and trying to take you away from that, take you away
Always,
from the right thing to do. It's
always.
always something there.
And it's funny because it always happens, but even with us in our life, when we try to do the right thing, every single thing goes haywire. Everything. Like imagine you trying to build your life and then everything else is being demolished around you. You like, wait a minute, I'm over here building and everything else is being torn down. Like this is what we go through in life because we are trying to build. We are trying to better our life. So every single thing around us, especially if Hashatan cannot connect to us, oh, he's gonna get around us. Oh, he's gonna use our baby daddies, our baby mamas, our kids, our mothers, our sisters, our family men, our work, our boss.
Oh,
He's going to use.
most important to us to do the bit.
You hear me? He going to use them because he knows if I get you to this point. Oh, and I wanted to say something too. Like there was this known witch on TikTok, and she was like how she does her conjuring. She was like, I get people to where they're really angry because if they're really angry, then they're gonna sin, and if they sin, that means I got them.
Hmm.
And I said, you know what? You're right. Because I got to work on it. I know me personally. People can make me angry. How can you make me anything? That means I'm giving you power over me. You can do what you will with the power that I give to you freely. My thing is I have to work on that because I can't give you power or will over me.
Right.
People know how to test my buttons. I can't give you that power and will over me no more. So now that you think that you can test me in this way, because obviously I got an attitude, everybody knows that I will go off on somebody in the quickness. I'm gonna have to work on that.
I'm gonna pray for you. I'm gonna be praying for you.
Thank you. Because when you hear me do it like a little run or a hum, that means I'm bringing it down. I'm woosah.
Come
Because
on,
I'm not.
Musa.
I'm saying, you know me, I do a run in the quickness. Make up a song in the quickness and be like, who, you know what? You're not like you still working on me.
And I
Right.
need this hymn right now. I'm gonna need this hymn right now.
It's funny because I do. People be like, when you eat, you sing. When you mad, you sing. When you happy, you sing. And I'm like, because that's my grounding place. That's where I know I'm the most happiest. I am the most secure. Even if it makes me scared to sing on stage, it is where I am the most grounded. So even with anger, if I sing and I make a joke and I sing or something, I come back to my grounding. If I'm happy, if I'm eating, I sing, I'm right there in my grounding because I don't want to get too giddy. But that's how I ground myself. So even with us, like knowing that we have to grow, we have to know what we can tap into to help us grow. Because if we use up too much energy, say we're growing so fast, you use up too much energy, it hurts to grow. Like, I don't know if you know kids, it's called growing pains. They literally hurt when they grow too fast. Their body starts to grow. Their ligaments and all of that start to pull and all of it.
What is that called? Asperger? What is it? Asperger's disease or something like that. But I know what you're referring to.
I don't know what it's called. I just know it's called growing pains. I don't know like science.
Yeah, they have an actual condition too, and I think it's Asperger's if I'm not mistaken. Because I think this kid that I used to work with, he had that.
Asperger's is autism. So
Is it really?
yeah.
I might be mispronouncing it. Please forgive me then.
It could be something like that though, but I don't know. Let's look it up real quick.
Yeah, because like I said, the kid, I remember, like I said, because when I was a parapro for a year, because I remember I was like, really? And it was like, yeah, his shins, and he used to always like his shins would hurt, and like I said, it probably isn't Asperger's like you said. It probably sounds like it, and I probably just butchered the word itself.
Um, I don't even know how to spell this word. It's acromegaly or something. It's called a gigantic. How do you
Don't look
GIG?
at me.
It's gigantism. Gigantism.
Gigantism.
Yes, okay, right, yes, yep, that is okay. That's one, and it's another form too. But yes, I've heard of gigantism as well too.
Okay.
Well, forgive me. I didn't mean to cut you off and
Oh
get you
no,
off this serious.
so yeah, and Porgia is also known as the Hutchinson Gilford Pyrgia syndrome, which is extremely rare in a progressive genetic disorder. So they grow completely real fast. But yeah,
Yes, okay. Yeah, I had a football player. He had that. I think that's what it was. So yeah, forgive me. I think that was what it is because he's like, Coach, my shins hurt, and it's like it says his arm used to always hurt, and I think that was it. As you broke that down, I think that was his condition.
and it is because when they grow so fast, their ligaments don't have time. It catches up, but it doesn't have time to load
Right.
generate like it's supposed to. So it completely hurts to grow. So even with us growing, we need to understand that we want to grow, we want to get bigger, but we don't want to outgrow what our body is able to hold.
Uh,
So as we grow, We grow, we learn, we understand the knowledge, we utilize the knowledge. Then we grow more. We grow, we understand, we utilize the knowledge. Then we grow more. We grow, we understand, we utilize the knowledge. We don't just keep growing because we got to understand and utilize the knowledge. That's what we do with workouts and everything else. When you go and you work out, you're working out your muscles and everything else. You want to grow gains, but at the same time, your body has to have a rest. It has time, to compartmentalize that we are growing something right now. So now we have to replenish the things that we have taken out of ourselves. So now that we've grown so much, now we have to take a rest. Our seventh day, like we talked about this with dang, can't think of the name right now. Anyways, I just went blank right there. But we talked about how on the seventh day we all rest. We are doing everything during the week. We're working, we're doing everything basically. And then on the seventh day, it's a time to rest. Not only is it time to rest, we are growing in that time. We are growing spiritually. We are growing through the word. Like, we need understanding. But at the same time, we take what we grew throughout the week and we stretch that throughout the week, because during the week is where we do most of our work, even though we still learning during this time. If you don't understand how the muscles grow, the rest period is where the muscles grow the most. So when we are in our rest period, you are building throughout the week, but during your rest period is when your muscle is like taking on the bulk. Therefore, while you're going through the week, you're basically giving nutrients throughout the week for that growth period at the end of the week. That's the same way we are mentally, spiritually, and physically. We have a growth period. We have a workout period, and then we have a growth. We have a growth spur, then we have a time where we like 6 foot tall. Afterwards, we genetically, we don't grow after what, 21? Was it 18, 21?
Yeah, we grow to like 21.
Yeah, about 21. Women usually start their growth.
Okay, so
around about 16, and men are around about 21.
Yeah, so genetically, we stop growing at a certain time. So if you grow outside, because you can still grow, like it's more of like I would say not one size fit all, because majority of people stop growing at that time. But there are cases where people do grow outside of that time, and when they grow outside of that time, they end up getting bone diseases, things like that, because their body and all the nutrients that they use as a youth, they don't have it now that they're older. They don't have the same metabolism as they had when they were 15, 16. They don't have the same way to absorb all these minerals and nutrients as they did when they were younger. So now that they're older and their body's still trying to grow, their body's like, whoa, wait a minute, we got to take it from here. We got to take it from somewhere else. And now that's why your knees is hurting, because you still trying to grow and your knees is like, wait a minute, we ain't here no more.
You don't quit talking about me.
I'm sorry, y'all know I be joking all the time. Me too.
Yeah, she was airing all our little business out. Kadosha and said, I ain't coming to the chat no more. I'm gonna play hooky.
I love y'all. Listen, I'm 35 and my knees be cracking, so I'm talking about myself too. I am, but we have to understand that we want to grow, but we don't want to continue to expand our growth without applying our knowledge. We don't want to expand our growth without going to make sure that what we learn lines up with what the Most High says. So if his words, we precept on precept, word upon word, line upon line. And not only that, what is your world around you telling you? If I'm learning this stuff and I'm placing this stuff into my knowledge in my peripheral, in my arsenal, what is the things around me saying? If I'm growing, how am I still doing the same things that I used to do years ago? If I'm growing, why am I still going to the same place? If I'm growing, I shouldn't be stuck here. So if
Right.
you're growing spiritually, you should start taking a look around you and all the things around you and see, am I really growing, or am I just learning and not placing that knowledge into my life for real? Because I'm not really growing. I'm just learning new things and not like utilizing them or using them. Because I can learn all kinds of knowledge. Trust me, last year all I was doing was learning stuff. I didn't put not one of those things in nothing. I didn't use nothing. I done went to school 2 times. Got a degree in business management. I ain't used not a bit of that. So I can grow. Man, listen, I can learn all I want to, but am I applying that? Am I utilizing it? Am I putting it into my daily habits? Because I should be in somebody's office right now on the books. But I haven't utilized any of that. But trust and believe me, I will be using it for my own business. So it didn't go, it's not voided. It's not used in vain. It's just I haven't applied it yet.
Right.
So that's something we also have to do when we are growing. We have to learn and adjust and apply.
Mm-hmm.
We can't just learn what we learn, never use it.
Give me water.
We're not going to keep on learning and growing in the Most High's words if we don't see somebody and teach them the word. If our life is not changing in the way that the Most High wants us to change. So let me go back to oh, y'all ready for the physical work? It's we about to put this in. So tell me when y'all ready.
Go for it.
All right. So I'm gonna need everybody to stand up. Let me stand up with y'all.
Hold on. I mean, how we want anybody stood up? The only people got the cameras on is Crystal, Aquawak, and myself. For some reason,
I'm gonna have
Atisa got
faith
her
that
camera
y'all
on.
are standing up. Too. Nah. I'm not making y'all do this on your own. I'm standing right now.
Okay,
we prove it.
Okay, hold on. Give me a second. Standing. See? Standing.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Well, I'll do it with y'all. So I'm gonna do it with y'all anyways. But let me go ahead and go back to my notes. So it's 3 parts of this. And you're going to feel it. This is the reason why I said it's I need y'all to feel it when I'm talking about it, because I need a physical demonstration of what it feels like to continue to put yourself in smaller places or to shrink yourself down so y'all can understand what happens spiritually. So right now I need y'all to squat down. Everybody squat. And all of us who have knee pains, I know y'all feeling this right now. So in the squat, this is part of crunching yourself down. So in this stage, your legs begin to shake. You can feel it all in your knees. You can hardly walk because you try walking in a squat. It's not gonna be, yeah. So it's very painful. So in this stage is where most of us put ourselves. We squat ourselves down because this is where everybody else is at. I got to squat myself down to be in a position to be eye to eye with you. Physically, mentally, and spiritually, I got to squat myself down to bring myself lower than what the Most High has told me to be. And a lot of us stay here. We get stuck here because try to stand right now. It hurts, don't it? It hurts. So most people just stay in that position because they're like, well, I mean, I'm already in pain. So your second step is to stand up just a little bit, not fully erect. Let me get these knees.
This.
All right. So now you feeling it. You still feel the pain that you felt before. You still feel that pain in your knees, but it's not as bad as it used to be. So this is the place right here where people are like, oh, I can walk now a little bit. Try walking. So now you can walk. It doesn't feel like it felt before, but now you feel it in your back.
Yeah.
You feel it in your spine. You feel it in your shoulders. You feel it in your stomach because now you're crouching. Now your stomach's and muscles are intact. So now you're feeling this pain. So spiritually, this is where people really get stuck in this pain because they feel this pain so much. They start to go on drugs. They start to lose their mind mentally because why am I feeling so much pain? Why am I going through so much? Why am I not growing? Because you haven't tried to. You haven't tried to stand up. So now, therefore, you're not fully at your full potential. So you need to grow, but now I'm not in much pain as I used to be in. So I think I can walk a little bit. You try to walk, but your body starts conforming to this. That's why you see people walk around with the hunchbacks because they're also used to, y'all can stand up, but to getting in that position. That's why when people tell you when you're on your phone to sit straight up because your body will start conforming to that because you're down like this so much looking at your phone. So they physically tell you not to look at your phone. Like if you have your phone, hold it up like this so that your body is fully erect so that you know. But then not only this is where your mental starts breaking down. People get addicted to pornography. People get addicted to pain. People get addicted to drugs and alcohol. Like you think that you're broken, but at the same time, like the Most High is telling you, if you fully stand up and start walking around, then I can use you. You start getting heartbroken in this position because you're like, he's not using me like he's supposed to. It's because he's telling you, I need you to grow. I need you to move. I need you to stand up fully. Now that we're standing up, you still feel residual pain from what you felt before, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can still feel a little bit of it. So now you're like, it's the part where you're like, well, I stood up and I'm still feeling some pain. Right. But he's like, well, if you walk with me, so now walk. If you walk with me, then therefore your pain starts subsiding. Mm-hmm. If you hold my hand, now I let you know that your pain, even though your knees is cracking right now, you still not feeling that pain that you felt when you were down on your knees. You still not feeling the pain you felt when you were halfway erect. Now I can use you. Now I can fulfill you. Now I can grow you because you have started to walk with me. You have started to stand up and be fully erect. It stays right here. Now, people sometimes get discouraged because they like, I was so used to being low. Now I see over everybody. Ain't nobody up here. Like I said in the beginning, this is the place where it fears us the most because everybody else is down there. Everybody else is still lower than us. Everybody else is still bended. But now you start to realize that your mental capacity is better than what it used to be. Your body can now run and jump and hop and skip that it couldn't do while you was on your knees. Now that you can stand up, y'all can sit down now. But now that you can stand up and fully understand that he can use you any which way he can tell you to turn left, you can turn left. He can tell you to jump, you can run, you can skip, you can hop. Everything that the Most High needs you to do, you can do it now because you are standing fully erect. You are able, like I said, when Joseph was in there, when he got to the point where he set him down, he was like, now I can use you. Now I can use you because you are standing fully in everything that I need you to stand in. You are walking with me. Now your bones don't hurt no more. Now they don't crack no more. And this is the funniest part. Now that you're elevated, those people that used to try to bring you around, they can't reach the heights that you at now to pull you down. They're not even tall enough to ride the rides. Every ride that you get on with the Most High, they're not tall enough. They don't meet the criteria. They don't meet the standards. You up here, like you said, cuz I know you call me short sometimes. You 6'1", 6'3". I'm 5'5". The altitude up there with you is different. It's different. It's different from down here.
It's all right. I call them vertically challenged. It's all right, man.
Talk what? You talk to?
I'm sorry.
Don't be calling me.
Are you tall too?
I'm 5'11", so yeah, like I said.
So I can't. There's things that I'm gonna have to ask y'all to reach for me because I physically cannot reach it. I cannot reach up there and be like, there's something on top of that what's the name right there. I'm gonna be like, cuzzo, can you get that? Cause I'm standing on my tippy toes. I ain't know. That's what the Most High is letting us know. We standing fully erect. So once we stand high, the things that we can't reach, obviously He's going to reach it for us. But we still need to understand that. Hear me when I say this. It's thin up here, but at the same time, like, we in our third stage of growing.
Mm-hmm.
We know where we need to go.
Mm-hmm.
Because he puts the standards on us. He lets us know, I have better for you. I have more for you. This is not where I want you to stop. This is not the place. Sorry, I'm gonna sit down. I was still standing. This is not the place that I want you to stop. So I have better for you. I have more for you. I have different heights for you. But those people that used to pull you down, they can no longer reach you. They can't scream up here to you because you're elevated into a mountain and they're still in the valley. You can't hear their screams. You can't hear them tempting you to go back to pornography. You can't hear them tempting you to go back to alcohol and to all of this brokenness because you are elevated your mind and spiritually. You have elevated yourself to heights that you no longer, that taste doesn't come to you no more. It's not a want and a desire. It's not a need for you anymore because I have elevated you. You are now standing fully erect. So all the pains, the trauma, the hurt and the pain that used to bother you a long time ago, even though you can still feel a residual of it, it's not to where it's pulling you back down to their brokenness. So if I fully get you up here, now your enemies that could withstand those levels, they can't withstand them no more because you bringing them up to a new height. Like I said about from going from Florida to Colorado, they two different elevations. They will literally lose their breath because the air is thinner. So you have people that get off planes and pass straight out because they're so used to thick air, that low elevation. People go straight into the hospitals because they flew from Florida to Colorado and didn't understand that there was a difference in the air. They came from Canada all the way to to Mexico. They didn't understand that there was a difference in the heat. Now they got blisters all over their back. But they try to be like you. Now, instead of you trying to fit in with them, they trying to be like you, and it's hurting them. Because they didn't do all the things that you did to get to this level. They didn't grow spiritually like you did to get that mental level, that spiritual level. They didn't grow in the way that they're supposed to. Like I said, it hurts to grow too fast. So somebody trying to be like you, they want to grow as fast as you did, and now they in the hospital because their knees is breaking. Their bones cracking. But they're trying to live where you living at. But like I said, we have to go through things to get there, to the elevation. There's steps that we have to take. People are trying to skip all of those steps and be where you are tomorrow. And at the same time, they mind them blown because they don't learn too much overnight. And now they think the world's about to end tomorrow. And now they're in a mental hospital because they couldn't understand what you understand now. They don't know what you know spiritually. So now that they done went from white Jesus to now knowing Yahusha was black with woolly hair, they hate black people. Now they can't understand it. They can't fathom because they didn't grow spiritually. They trying to jump from this plane to that plane, and it hurt them. It hurt you because in your heart you was hated. You have hatred in your heart, and you didn't work on that hatred. So now that you don't bypass that hatred in your heart, you're really hurt. These are steps we have to go through to learn. Like we have to grow through. Because if we don't work on the little things, those little things will be the things that catch us up later. Facts. Just like I go to the elephant analogy, I got another one. When an elephant steps on a splinter, he can't physically get that splinter out himself. Somebody smaller is going to have to come and pull that splinter out of him. But because he wasn't looking where he was going, he stepped on that splinter. Now you have to get somebody that's lower than you to come and pull that splinter out. Or say you got something on your back. They can't reach over and get things off of their back, so they have to have somebody that's higher than them to come and pull it off their back. that's how we are spiritually and physically. We have to understand that somebody is higher than us spiritually. Somebody knows more than us. Somebody understands more than us. But we learn from them because we are spiritually adaptable, and we learn because we want to learn, because we're hungry. But we're not trying to get to where they are overnight, because they might know too much that we don't need to know. So we taking off little by little, that bite after bite, to grow and to be where they are. But we still don't want to deplete ourselves by taking us back to where we were, putting ourselves back into the little bitty boxes and trying to fit in with anybody else. Because like I said, you either going to break the mold or the mold will break you. And that's all I got to say, y'all. That was my studies.
Girl, the Spirit used you tonight. The Spirit used you tonight. I'm telling you. Listen. Fear is the one thing that we can't afford of any type. It tells us in Revelation chapter 21, the first thing it tells us, and when it starts to talk about those things that's going to send us to the lake of fire, the very first thing that is mentioned is the fearful. We can't be afraid to grow. We cannot be afraid to boast in the Most High. Understand that understand the word says the word says, if that don't boast in your riches. Don't boast in those things that you have, but if you're going to boast in anything, you boast in the knowledge of you boast in your knowledge of the Most High. So when we're working on these things, and we're coming out, being bold, being boastful, in a righteous standpoint, that is a good thing. So don't be afraid to stand out and be separated. The word tells you to be separate, to be peculiar, to be a stand apart people. So when our family around us don't want to grow, when our friends that we quote unquote friends don't want to grow, when we got people who we study with, they don't want to grow. You've got to continue to grow. You got to continue to extend we got to be able to continue to extend ourselves out, and to be able to catch the sunlight, to be able to catch the rain, to be able to walk through the mess, because, and here's the thing. Here's the thing. We need sunlight. We need rain. We need dirt. We need crap. We need dung around our roots in order to help us to grow. All these things add up to what's going to make us a stronger, more fruitful individual if we don't fall, if we don't fail, if we don't quit, if we don't get to a point where we think that we've had enough. You said the one thing that stood out to me today when you was talking to Akawaka, and you was telling him, how do you know when you're ready for that next step, when you're ready for that next meal? This is all part of that. And we got you made a very excellent point to show that as babes, even as a baby, to get to a certain standpoint where you don't want what this was. You want this next thing. You don't want to eat this because this is what you've been eating. You want to eat that thing that mommy that you have a taste of, because now you feel like you're ready for this next step. We got to continue to walk with the ideas that we're going to be ready for the next step. But the thing is, you said something that hit me so hard, Odyssey. You said a little bit ago, you said that you said just a little bit ago that he's trying to elevate us while we're trying to be complacent. He's gonna cause us to lose those things that we become comfortable with, so he can take us to the next level. And when you said that, that reminded me of a job I had a few years ago. And I kept hearing him in the spirit telling me, this is not for you. This is not what I wanted you to do. Do what I asked you to do. But I had become so complacent on this job to the point where I had stifled myself. I was not growing. I wasn't even growing spiritually because of all the pain and stress and strife I was dealing with on this job site. Right. And, but then one day something happened and I got taken off the job. I got fired off the job. I got fired off the job. And when that happened, it was like the biggest sigh of relief, the biggest sigh of, like the biggest weight had been lifted. And I literally went home that day and went to sleep, and I slept all day long. Why? Because I had this weight that was lifted, this weight that I was carrying around on me. He was like, listen, I keep trying to tell you that load's too heavy for me. Let me take that from you, and you go do as I ask you to do. And this is something that we have to be, this is something that I had to come to the understanding of. I had a lot of growing to do. But where I was, I was being stifled, I was being
Mm-hmm.
held back, I was being retarded. And the thing was, it was me who was retarding myself because I was the one who prevented myself from growing because I was afraid of the next step. I had a fearful heart. So he showed me that perfect love casts out all fear. He showed me that I have no need of being fearful when he's always going to be there for me. Even now, even you know, and don't get me wrong, we human. We when things don't go the way that we think they should go, the first thing we do, like, oh, what we gonna do now? What am I gonna do this? What am I gonna do that? But then he reminds us, I'm the one who's in control. I'm the one who's in charge. I'm the one who's actually driving this car. You're actually a passenger. You think you're driving. You have a fake. You're like in driver's ed. You have that fake steering wheel that really is not gonna do anything. I'm your pilot. You're over
Mm-hmm.
co-piloting. I can't. I'm not gonna give you the wheel until I'm ready for you to take this wheel. And this is where we are. He's at a point where he's sitting us, he's continuously adding more fire and more fire to us. We're not being consumed, we're not being burned up, but we're growing in the fire because it takes so much. It takes so much for, like I said, with some seeds, it takes literally takes a fire to cause that seed to germinate. And that point that you have brought tonight, and I love the way that you always have a way to bring it that is just really, really mindful of how we have perceived ourselves. How sometimes we have felt like one thing you mentioned today, you think you know everything, you think you've arrived, but yet when you think you've arrived, you've stopped what? When you think you've arrived, you stop growing. You can't learn anymore. And when you can't learn anymore, you have actually plateaued yourself. So you're no longer soaring above, but you're soaring
Staniel.
below the potential that the Most High wants you to be on. You know that the analogy that you use where you're talking about an eagle can't be down with the pigeons because then he becomes what he becomes prey for other predators.
Yep.
You know, you brought us so many points to drive this thing home, and it's just so refreshing. You know, I was sitting up. You said something. You said one other thing that really caught my attention was that uh when we feel like that we're not when we feel like we're stifled, we don't feel like we're hearing him. That's because we have stifled. We put ourselves into a position where we're not actually growing anymore. So he's not saying anything to us at this particular point. Then when we realize that, hey, hold up, there's more to this, then he starts talking to us again. You didn't say it exactly that way, but that's just the way that I took it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and
Right.
huh? You know, so girl, I cannot speak highly enough on this evening. You have really opened up my eyes to this thing, you know, and I can see why it didn't happen last Wednesday. I can see why it didn't, I mean, not last Wednesday. I can see why it didn't happen last Friday. It wasn't meant to happen Friday. It was
Right.
meant to happen today, you know. And this, oh my gosh, I just don't know what to say. This is, mm, it gives me something else to examine myself with on a daily basis. Am I still leaving myself open to where I can learn, where I can
Yeah.
grow?
That's
Or
me
am I
because
trying,
I'm
or am I trying to keep or am I trying to keep my roots in that same pot just because it's become comfortable, even though I'm strangling
comfortable, right?
myself, even though I'm depleting all the nutrients in the pot, even though my roots are starting to get dry rotted because there's no room for them to grow. There's no the waters are got, you know. This gave me something else that I got to really consider when you know during my self-examination. And this is something we should all reconsider. This is something we should all consider when we're doing self-examination. Am I allowing myself to grow? You know, am I ready to jump from the little beginner pot and jump into a larger pot and then grow some more and then be ready to be planted into a larger pot, until it gets to the point where you have to actually literally plant me into the ground because my roots are growing so much that the only thing that can support my root system is the earth itself. That's growth. And the earth does not retard the growth of a root. It gives your roots things to grab a hold to hold tight down to the ground so that you don't get easily uprooted.
Right.
Yahusha says, Yahusha said, the word is like a seed, you know. You throw, and the man planted it on the ground. Some falls into the thistle, some fall upon the rocky ground, but then some falls in on fertile soil. What falls on fertile soil gets it takes root. It grows into a good soil. It grows. And it takes root and it takes form and it continues to grow and continues to grow and continues to grow and it produces fruit. And the more room you give it to grow, the more fruit it can produce. Whereas the seed that falls on the seed that falls on the shallow on the fallow soil where the roots go in but they can't go deep, so the sun beats down on the roots and the plant eventually dies off. Then you got some things that grow up that where some of the seeds that fall into the thorns and the thickets, they begin to grow, but then because the thorns and thickets are what they are, they choke the life out of that. They choke the life out of that seed, out of that sprout, and it no longer can grow. We got to make sure that we're not putting ourselves in the point where what we're learning is just being just it's just drying up as soon as we learn it. We got to make sure that we're not, that we're not standing in the thickets to where what's coming to us gets strangled out of us. But in that fertile soil, that fertile ground, that good ground that's
Mhm.
got just the right amount of rocks, it's got just the right amount of dirt, you got just the right amount of bugs and insect and bacterial and fungi life that it needs that your roots need in order to pass all the nutrients up to the stems and then the stem to the leaves and then the leaves themselves soak up the sunlight and soak up the rain and soak up the rain and send it back down to the roots, this cycle of growth that does not stop.
Mm-hmm. And then not only that, like some people you need to understand that the growth happens with the roots first. So when we see that some people we think are not growing, we think that they're not moving, but at the same time, like a lot of trees, a lot of plants have bigger roots. So their roots grow fast and their roots grow deep. And then after a while, their tree starts to be big. Most of the people think that because you are not in the place that you're supposed to be in. They think that because you follow the most high that you're supposed to be in this place or that place. But guess what? My roots is growing. And not only
Mm-hmm.
roots growing, my roots are taking bearing down in the ground so that when my plant starts to actually grow, it will be unwavering. It
Mm.
won't move. It won't break. It won't like the song "The Tree That's Planted by the Water." I should not be moved because the trees plants the roots grow so deep that they hold on, and people don't understand that sometimes our roots need to grow deeper than what our tree grows above us. There's plants that are just are there's herbs that are just roots, and they have like little tiny plants on like on the herb, and then when you pull the root out, it's so thick. Like look at burdock root. Burdock root
Mm-hmm.
is one of the most nutritious herb there is, and it's all root, and it's got like a little tiny plant that comes above the surface. But that root is what is needed. That root is what heals. That root is what gets into people's system and changes the molecular structure. It changes your blood, like it helps your blood. It enhances
Mm-hmm.
how the oxygen comes into your blood. But if people only seen that little tree that it produced on top of the grass, they be like, "What is this?" Never knowing plant really what that plant was really made for. So
Mm-hmm.
even if we don't see the topical plant growing, we need to understand roots is what needs to be, like you say in that one saying, we get back to our roots. Why do people say that? Because the roots is what needs to take place in the first beginning. Our foundation
Come
is
on.
what we need.
Come on, cuz. You got that in there. You got that in there deep. You know. And have you ever noticed some of the most nutritional plants that you ever ate? You eat the roots of that plant.
Mm-hmm.
Carrots, you eat the root. Potatoes, you eat the root. Yucca, you eat the root. Like you said, burdock, you eat the root. Ginger, you eat the roots. All these things that you eat the root. Not ginger, ginseng. Ginseng, you eat the root. All
Onions.
these things, huh?
Onions.
Yes, right. You eating the
You was right,
root.
Kadosh. Ginger grows like that too. Ginger. Mhm.
All praises. I've never
Even
grew
peanuts are roots. I
but
just
yeah, you know. But
I see
what'd you
that. I
say?
never knew our peanuts was wrong.
Peanuts
Peanuts.
are root product. Yes, they are. You know, and these are some of the most nutritional things for you. But the way that they're weighted down into the ground, how they said have those big knobs or whatnot, just holds those plants down. And you're right, you'd be surprised at how small the foliage is. Beets, turnips,
Mm-hmm.
those things can grow, but but they have these little thin little leaves that come up. They might branch out a little bit, but they're really thin and they don't look like they much of anything. Even though we can eat those things, but it's that root that has all that goodness in it. You know, and I mean, that point you just brought up right there, that just reminded me I need to make sure that my roots are nice down and dug in deep. That way nothing can put that nothing can that way nothing can can just pull it up easily. It's got to be pulled up with a lot of effort, with a machine. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? You know. So sorry, y'all. That's my Ayana going out the back door. But this is all part of that growing process. Cause you pulled that thing out you pulled that rabbit out the hat today. I'm telling you, you did. And all praise to the
Thank
Most High
you.
Yah because you are obedient in my request. All praise to the Most High Yah
Mm-hmm.
because He used you to bring that thing that we all needed. And I know I needed it. So,
It was, yeah. You were speaking to my spirit on a couple of different things that I just wanted to. Yeah.
All praises.
so Akawad, your turn.
Yes, sir.
Your turn next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday, so all right, I'm gonna get it
What's
on
wrong
my
with you?
spirit. I'm gonna put it on. I'm putting it on my spirit right now, so I can start doing my
Damn.
little research and my studying. But yeah, I got a feeling of a uh spiritual conviction or something that I've been wanting to bring out. And honestly, it kind of hit on it, and I think the father kind of spoke to me when I heard her say something about it. We was talking about it, yeah, it's more about basically
Maybe.
knowledge, and the fact of so many of us are seeking this knowledge. And again, as the father tells us, like they say, get knowledge but get understanding, or seek wisdom but get understanding. And
Mhm.
knowledge can actually take you off the track in a lot of cases if you are seeking the wrong knowledge or you're seeking knowledge from the wrong people. So yeah, I pray about it, Kadosh, and I try to put something together. I don't know if I'm gonna be as as exciting and as
Whatever.
inspirational as Odyssey, but I can try. I'm gonna try to come on with it.
We
Hey,
all
you
say
know
that
what?
and then get on
We
and tear it down.
have a seat. You know what? We all got to start somewhere, and let's play. And the thing is, let's not try to be like one another, but let's everybody bring it the way the Most High gives it to us. You got to
Huh.
understand. We everybody has a different way of delivery. You know, y'all seen my way of delivery. Y'all been experiencing my way of delivery for a long while. You know, Odyssey's delivery is different from mine. Crystal's delivery is different. You know, Privacy's delivery was different. Everybody's delivery is different because the Most High uses it in a different capacity.
Right.
He uses a person's strong point in his deliveries. And what's strong for me may not be strong for you. What's strong for Odyssey, it may not be strong because because the way Odyssey brought that out, y'all don't ever hear me talking like that because it's not my delivery. That's not what he's giving to me. The Most High is giving me the ability to take attack and slam it into the ground with a sledgehammer. That's what he's done for me, you know. But Odyssey uses nurturing. Odyssey is a nurturer. She's a natural nurturer, and so when she talks about things, she comes from a nurturing standpoint. When Crystal spoke from this. When Crystal spoke from a place of experience. Crystal spoke from a place of of of, of not just knowledge, but of a place where she has been. You know, so everybody speaks from a different point. Everybody speaks from a different level. I don't expect you to speak from nobody but Akawak. I don't expect you to come from another place than where Brandon is. What the Most High is giving you, I guarantee you, man, you work within what the Most High is giving you, it's going to come through. It's going to come too strong. It's going to come. It's going to come through like like it's supposed to, and it's going to be delivered, and it's going to reach the people the way it's supposed to reach the people. You know, and this is what I appreciate about you guys. You guys are family to me. You know, I mean, all of us ain't on here tonight, okay, but the ones who admit who this message was meant for, guess what? We're here. This message may not be meant for everybody at this particular point right
Stay out
now.
stay out my head.
What'd you say?
No, honestly, because again, she was on fire, you know, in my ruach about a lot of things, and like you were saying, it was and Kadosh, you were speaking about a couple of things. It was like, you know, as she had said, and it brought so much into where I've been at in my walk, you know, of dating and in my, you know, spiritual walk too, of just understanding my calling. And you know, my cousin, she's a female, she's an older female, and again, she kind of had to explain the same thing to me, and I really didn't understand it. And Odyssey had kind of hit on it earlier in her message about, again, a lot of people don't, they really don't like you, you know, you walking in the spirit and you having that spiritual conviction of waiting most high, and you don't care about nobody else's thoughts or conviction. And I really didn't understand, or I really couldn't see it, that other people,
4 days.
that rubbed other people's spirits the wrong way, because obviously, you know, it's wickedness inside of them. But I never really seen it until she was like, no, some people that you think is closest to you, them be the main people that be, everybody don't want to hear that spiritual, you know, you walking with Yah, you walking in truth. Everybody ain't walking in truth. So a lot of people, that turns them off. They don't want to hear that. So honestly, you brought that out, you know, that hit my ruach hard. And then just the understanding of, like you said, just the whole aspect of crouching down. And honestly, I'm gonna just speak to it of just trying to date women that's just not in the truth. And you trying to, you know, like you said, subject yourself to this, and you don't want to come off like a Sadducee or a Pharisee. But then the Father's also telling me, like you said, Odyssey, as you brought out, this ain't where I want you at. You know, it's a reason why these women is not working. It's a reason why you keep getting this empty feeling that, again, you pouring yourself out and you're not receiving the ruach that you want. So
too, because
it is. That's why I said, Odyssey, tonight you was on fire. You set me on fire. So it's like, okay, Abba, all right, hey, I see you using your daughter to speak, so I'ma just listen. So it was a lot of things that just
y'all keep going. Y'all keep going. Give me 2 minutes. I need to go let the dogs in. My daughter fell down the steps outside. It was
you
ice.
okay?
Okay.
Fell down. She hurt herself. So let me.
But so yeah, Odyssey, that was like I said, so the Father. That's why I was laughing, but very serious, like stay out my head, because like I said, the Father was, like I said, his hand was on you, and you was being used by him tonight, and there was a lot of things that needed to be, you know, needed to be heard from that standpoint of us just fellowshipping with, you know, as they said, just not our people. They look like us, but they just not us, you know, spiritually, and that's huge.
That's my problem. I don't know what it is. I feel like I can reach outside of the Most High to bring somebody into him. And like I said, I'm at a different level. And if I keep crouching myself down to them, eventually I'm going to hurt myself pulling myself back down. So even in relationships, like I'm like, I will bring somebody outside, or he will be in a different denomination. I'll be like, oh, I'm gonna teach him, and da 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 da. And here I am pulling myself back down, and I'm like, why does it work? Why does it never happen? When is it ever going to happen for me? But if I continue to keep on reaching outside of Yahuwah, like eventually I'm gonna be hurt, and I don't want to keep doing that. So I was like, you know what, I'm done. I went over. Like, just let, whenever it happens, it happens. I just don't
Well,
want.
honestly, I think I need to take a. I needed to listen because again, I'm tired of getting spanked too. I'm tired of being felt empty and like I said, get left at the altar. I'm tired of that. Like you said, so maybe I might need to wait. Much like you saying in the same breath, like yeah, we might need to find our own people, and stop like you said, trying to bring these other nations into the fold and just stay with Yasharal because again, it's extremely stressful. And again, that's what my spirit spoke to, just the understanding of what you were saying and just that, because like I said, I pray about not, having that conviction of judgment of looking down upon people. But I know, like you just brought out, that I've done this, a couple of different times, and I'm seeing like, okay, B, it's you. You know what I'm saying? You, and as me and Kadosh, we was talking about it, and it was like you had your Samson moment. You went to your
Yeah.
mom, you went to your father, like, no, this is the one I want. I promise you, but she gonna be right. We gonna make this right. It's gonna be righteous. And as long as I love her the way that you want me to, it's gonna be righteous. And y'all like, okay, if that's what you want, I'm giving it to you because that's what you're saying you want it. But that's not what I want for you. But I'll give it to you because again, so like you said, Odyssey, it is. It's something that again we really do need to understand. Not to be prideful to look down upon people, but to understand, like you said, no, I should not crouch down and
Yeah.
be a part of something that I'm just not. It's just not of me. You know what I'm saying? So yes, the Father spoke to you tonight, and again, it definitely hit my ruach on a couple of different points.
Yeah. And then we
Hallelujah.
know we supposed to grow and do different, the way I dress and the way that I talk to people, talk. Like, I know now it's because I still wear jeans, and I don't wear dresses and skirts all the time. So even with me now, like, I'm like, you know what, I can't wear this anymore. I might wear my leggings, but I can't wear that type of clothes anymore. I can't wear this, is too revealing. I'm not gonna put that on. Like, I don't even feel comfortable sometimes when I have stuff on, and I'm like, oh no, like, ask Cuzzo when he's here and we go into Shabbat and stuff. I'm like, does this look all right? Because sometimes I'll be like, no, this is, it's too revealing. Like, it's too tight. Like, it's
My no, that's a spirit, and I
yeah,
believe that too. I think it is. It's a natural ruach that you have. Like you said, that it is. It's either I want to do the Father's will and I want to walk righteous, or I don't. And I think that's the bigger spiritual conviction of, like you said, it ain't about, oh, look at that sister, she got on jeans. Like, no, it's a spiritual conviction. Do you really understand a covering? Do you walk in a masculine spirit? Do you
right, right,
talk in a masculine spirit? And I trust me, I believe the Father meant what he said too, as far as period. He didn't want women wearing men's clothes. But I also believe that it's a spiritual thing, as we understand in this walk clearly too, that it's always spiritual and also physical, but it's a spiritual understanding too of just having that, that haughty and outward, appearance of not trying to be modest. And the father telling his daughters that no, you are supposed to be, chaste and modest, because again, as you being a woman, you understand your prowess and being a woman and what it does to us, man. So, like you said, that's a righteous spirit to have, for you to be walking in that, because as we see it, so many Jezebels walking around here who will go into Walmart with nothing on.
Nothing
You know what I'm
on.
saying?
Right.
I'm like, what is going on? To me, I look straight. I don't look at their physical. I'm like, what's going on with you mentally? Because
Spiritually,
you
yes,
can come spiritually in
spiritually to come
here
out like
looking like that. What is going on? Like, do you even have a covering? Do you even have somebody that loves you enough to tell you, no, ma'am, no, ma'am?
They
I
don't
had
don't.
a
do that. Don't
boy,
do that.
And then
yeah,
the
like,
ones that do it, and then the
I,
ones that do have that, and the ones that do have that, they want to talk about you. You talking about you ain't my daddy. You this. You
I
trying
was
to
like,
separate. Hey, baby girl, look at the girl. You got more ice cream on you than I got in this bowl.
that's funny. I want some ice cream.
Did you get it? Oh, that's it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, clean your
Here you go.
What is,
right.
baby girl? What ice cream you have? I want some.
You ain't gonna share? Why you ain't gonna share? We got a whole club in there.
Just a little bit.
You ain't gonna give a little bit? Come on now, don't be being like that. No,
No,
no. She'll share with you. She gonna give you some. She give you some.
I can't
No.
eat anyway. I'm lactose intolerant.
You
I eat
You need to stop.
be messed up later.